This action podcast will help you build resilience in your work life and in your personal life. Resilience is the tool that you need to get back and keep your journey going when you meet a failure or a challenge. The first step towards building resilience is to look at the failure and obstacles with a neutral state of mind. It might feel negative when we look at the failures, but the goal isn't to remove the negativity and to pay attention towards the failure, but to learn everything that has happened. Write everything down and describe what happened and what you learned from it. In the second step, try to find out if other people were involved in the failure or the challenge. If there are other people involved in the process and the failure is just beyond your control, you need to remind yourself that you're not the only one and you could not do anything more than what you've already done to control the outcome. In the third step, if it's beyond your control, then remind yourself about the serenity prayer. But if it was your mistake, then treat yourself with self-compassion and kindness to recover and to learn everything from the failure and keep that as a learning for your future actions. The idea and the focus here is not to look at things you've lost or not to imagine what it could have been positively, but to see what you've learned from the failure and what do you have now as an experience for your future plans. The learning from this action podcast is to focus that positive emotions and kindness keeps our faith and perception towards things ending up being positive, which means that eventually everything will be fine. But throughout the journey on the goal that you are working upon, you need to remind yourself at every step that you deserve better, you can only control so much, and you have a silent commitment towards the people who are working with you on this project and yourself as well. To summarize the key learning, you have to accept that you've met a failure. You need to know who's behind this. You need to be kind to yourself and the people who you work with. And most importantly, keep a note of the learning and the experience you've had from this failure. And try not calling it as a failure because it's a learning, it's an experiment that you did. And you now know that this is one more way things should not be done. I trust this action podcast will help you get out of the failures, the challenges, and use them as a learning and create something wonderfully. Because after all these failures, eventually when you get the success, no one else will be able to beat that because you've refined your work so many times and you've eliminated all the negative things by meeting those failures. Thank you very much for your time and listening to this action podcast.